Rattler wants another big one downfield. Into the hands of Mims, and Mims into the end zone.
All right, Spencer Rattler, 2018 Elite 11 MVP. It's 2021, and you're an Elite 11 counselor.
Yes, sir.
What's that sentence feel like?
It's a blessing to be back. I've always wanted to be a counselor at Elite 11, seeing those guys like Jalen and Tua being some of my counselors, Mackenzie Milton. Always wanted to be a counselor, so being able to be invited back, it's fun to be back.
Yeah, so what's that like to be a counselor? It's not like we have 30 counselors.
Yeah, no, it's definitely prestigious, I would say, especially, being an ex-winner of this camp in 2018, being able to get back, show your face, be around the guys that, some of these guys look up to us, me, Malik, Sam, and DTR. So being able to be around these high school guys and see how they're playing and give them tips and bits on, how to work on this, or they ask you questions and you get to help them. It's fun. It's a fun environment.
What is the environment of the quarterback fraternity like in your lens?
I would say my class, we're pretty close. I stay in contact with Sam, Graham Mertz, Jaden Daniels. He's at ASU now, so, I'm from out there, so we kind of relate with that. And then, just being able to play some of these guys like Max Dugan. I played him. He's at TCU, so we're in the same conference. Always coming across them here and there. It's cool to experience that.
Yeah, I always tell the Elite 11 quarterbacks, I probably told you guys that, I've been to the Heisman, I've been in the World Cup, been in cool settings. Mm-hmm. I still think this is the coolest setting because it's all the same position. It's the same mindset. It's sometimes a shared experience. Do you feel that? Do you feel like when you're around a bunch of people that have played this position, it's just different than even 105 guys at Oklahoma?
Oh, yeah.
Team?
The vibe is definitely, especially competing in it, it's more competitive. Like, I think you said that the other night, talking to the high school kids. This is going to be the most competition you face in a camp, in any type of setting with football and being a quarterback, playing in the open and competing in the Elite 11. It could be stressful to people, but you have to control your mind and not let it, overtake you. So, but being in the environment, it's fun, it's competitive. If you're a competitor, this is the environment to be in. Yeah,
I remember very vividly watching your tape, and I was like, you're the first guy I used this analogy with. I've used it with one other guy since then. So you kind of like played like Steph Curry. Like you play like a point guard to a degree, right? You're distributing, you're dealing. You got this great focus to you. What we've always taught at Elite 11, and I want to ask you about, is not the skill of focus, but the skill of refocus, which is challenging. That has to be taught and learned. For you, did you first get challenged to have to refocus when you got to college? Or did you find some adversity prior to that made you think, like, I have to develop that trait?
Yeah, focus has always been something that my parents have taught me on and off the field. Being through adversity on both, you learn from mistakes you make when you're younger, and you make that change then, so you don't have to worry about it now. I feel like I've done that in a positive way. And definitely getting to college, you have to refocus to another level because you got the keys to a billion-dollar business, pretty much. You're the Ferrari. You're not a Honda or a Ford. You're a Ferrari. You're a Bentley. You got the keys to it. So being able to manage that at such a young age, I'm still 20, which some people might forget. Me and Sam, we're still 20. So for us to be in this position, we're very blessed, but we also have a big responsibility, and I feel like a lot of people, forget that at times.
I remember the first year that Trent did the Elite 11. I think this is his 11th year being a part of it. He said a quote to that class. It was Jameis, it was Tanner Mangum. It was players that you got to go back in history books and look at that may not be playing anymore. And he said, you have to embrace the burden of influence. And this position has, like it or not, the ability to not only just fire the head coach and the coordinators, but even like the administration. Like really, you've got a lot of power. You got to embrace that burden. What are your thoughts on that? Because you just said like you're driving the Rolls Royce,
yeah.
And there could be the other argument of like, hey man, just do your job, just complete the ball and move the sticks.
Yeah, I see embrace your burden, or embrace that burden that you have as, you could break it down to a simpler term of just go out there and get by. Do what you have to do. Stay out of trouble. Play good in games. Do good in school. And yeah, it is that simple at times. But it's like, do you want to be great or do you just want to be average? So I think things that I want to implement in my life and in my career are doing the extra. Like my father and mother taught me that coming up. Do the extra to serve and help others. So that's something, especially with the time that we're coming across now with this name, image, likeness stuff, that I would love to do is help others. And I think that'll be a good start to my career and, be beneficial for not just me, but a lot of other people.
Yeah, I want to get back to that in a second. But before you can help others, you got to help yourself. There were times in your first year as the dude driving the Bentley or the Rolls Royce, as you said, where things weren't perfect, right? It wasn't like you were at the Elite 11 and you were just dealing, and it was kind of a walk-off MVP when you were here a couple of years ago. There were times when you'd be trending on Twitter because of plays that didn't go the way of your team. Pick sixes, bad plays, things that you wish you had back. What's it like to feel that? Because driving the Rolls Royce, I'd imagine, is pretty cool when there's nobody on the freeway
and everything's smooth.
But then when you're driving it on or like rocks and boulders and maybe the gas tank isn't full, it's a challenge, man. Somebody's got to push that thing.
Oh yeah.
So what was it like for you?
A lot of people, they can't put we can't put them in our shoes. So they really don't understand. But at the same time, they see it and think of it their way. But playing at a big-time school, being a big-time name, having the keys to that Rolls Royce, you want everything to be smooth. So I come out first game, like you said, wheeled it, dealed it, did everything I had to. Next game, struggled a little bit. We lost that game-losing interception. Game after that, really in that game, still had, the yards, the touchdowns, but the people are going to remember the negative plays. Next game, same type of game. People are going to remember the negative plays. Next game, Texas, biggest rivalry in the country, biggest game on TV, ups and downs, benched for a minute or two, put back in, and then that's when my head just clicked and boom, I had to focus in. And I knew that I couldn't get complacent with anything. My name couldn't carry anything. I had to work every day and prepare a different way, to succeed with my teammates. Seeing because everybody sees all the tweets, all the social media stuff, but you got to realize these people, a lot of them don't even play football, so you can't take it. You got to take it with a grain of salt, and that's what I did. I've always been a confident person. I've always believed in my abilities, and I've always believed in God and what my family has taught me coming up. So something I like to tell people is when I lock in the game, I always find my family up in the stands, no matter how busy it is. 80,000 people, 10,000 people, I always find them. And me and my dad have a little we do this at each other, and that means, all right, it's time to pick it up, time to lock in. So just being able to take a deep breath and see my pops and my mom and sister up there cheering me on, that's all I need, really.
Yeah. I think that's really fascinating what you said in terms of dealing with adversity, because I think we might have gotten to a place in the quarterback world based on specific plays, right? Tua, national championship game, walk-off rail shot. Trevor, national championship game, freshman, gashes Bama's defense. Jalen Hurts goes to a natty as a true freshman. We've seen young guys have a lot of success, that I think there's this understanding. Sam Howell, a lot of success as a freshman. When you look at bite-sized highlights, but when you really break it down and watch every snap, there is a learning curve. I don't think any freshman walks in. You referenced Jaden Daniels, guys you were in the same, Max Dugan. They all played as true freshmen as well. None of them just rolled. So how do you deal with that? Because you know that it's not going to be easy, but an expectation from outside of you is, well, he was the Elite 11 MVP, or he was a huge recruit. He's not allowed to throw a pick.
Exactly. No, exactly what Dak Prescott said today. I actually said the same exact thing in one of my first interviews about pressure and expectations. I said pressure is a privilege. Something I heard at church years ago back in Arizona, and I still look at it like that. All the expectations, for my team and I, we just can't listen to it. That's it. But you have to appreciate that people are even talking about you, because a lot of players people don't talk about, and they would want to be in that that light, so you have to take care of that. You have to prepare. You have to be confident. And I think all those abilities, can add up to great success on the field. And, that's the main focus. So,
yeah. I remember years ago I was talking to another guy from the Elite 11, quarterback who's now in the NFL, and he pulled me aside after a workout and he said, "Hey, everybody keeps telling me to lead, but I don't know how to. How do I do it?" So, especially in the world now, like, you're not in a huddle, right? You're not in like traditional leadership environments, just based on the way, the style of football that you play. So how have you developed that muscle and that skill set? Because I think you have a lot of leadership amid your spirit.
Yeah, I think that's something that started early on in my career, playing multiple sports. If it was football, basketball, baseball, I feel like I've always been a person of influence through my actions on the field, on the court. I look at a leader. You could have a very vocal leader. I'm not too vocal of a leader. I like to, express my leadership through my play, through my emotions, especially in games. I'll open up to guys like never before, But I'd say that stuff starts in the summer, with workouts, and after the season, off season, all that stuff. You have to lead in your workouts. You have to lead in your 7-on-7s and play up to par like a leader would, and lead guys and teach guys like a leader would. So I still continue to strive to improve on that every day, and I'm nowhere near where I want to be as a leader, but I'm okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I love that about you, because I think those that think that, hey, I've got all the leadership things figured out, I'd be like, man, it's a lifelong journey. Like it truly is. With that said, we talked about this during media training. It was a session that I got to run at Elite 11. Be interested versus be interesting. We have officially entered the era of, if I'm interesting, meaning if you want to look at me, then I can get paid as a college athlete. Or I think it should be flipped, and I would ask the athlete, hey, what are you interested in? And then go attack that so you can build a business, opportunities, a lifestyle around things that you like. So as you nod your head, if you agree with that sentiment, what other things are you interested in?
Things I'm interested in, I like how because you talked to me about this yesterday, be interested instead of interesting. Interesting I look at as more of a selfish thing. Interested I look at more as a selfless thing. That's a standard we have at Oklahoma, that Coach Riley and all the coaching staff teach all of us. Things that I'm interested in is, like I said, helping people. And now we're at that platform to where I could actually do that and see change, especially with all these things going on in the country. I'm interested in learning. I still learn plays, schoolwork every day. I have to show up to school like a normal student. I have to go to practice, be 30 minutes early because of the position I'm in. So I have to be interested in the ball before I'm interested in all the money and this and that. Obviously, that's a great thing, and a lot of people are going to benefit off of it, but I'm interested in the bigger picture, down the path, and all the interesting stuff. You can see the interesting plays on the field.
Yeah, that takes discipline. So where did you develop the discipline? And is it a challenge to be that disciplined?
Oh, it can be a challenge at times for sure, but it comes from my parents. Very humble people, people of faith. They just taught my sister and I just the right values coming up, and since then I've tried to keep those in the back of my head. My dad calls me like 20 times a day. I feel like just he'll have something on his head. He'll call me, talk to me. My mom the same. She'll FaceTime me 10 times a day, just checking in on me, making sure everything's right. She'll send me, inspirational quotes, little Bible verses, everything. So just having them in your corner, having a tight circle, is very beneficial for your life.
Yeah, that was interesting. Dak Prescott basically said, you are the company that you keep, regarding the community he has now. This guy just signed a massive deal with the Cowboys, and how that's been able to keep him grounded. I imagine your family does that for you as well. Before we let you go, I'd love to know how you approach the pressures in college football, the expectations in college football. We're in a world, as you know, in the playoff where it's kind of like 3 teams are given the benefit of the doubt. Oklahoma's probably in that 4th, 5th, 6th slot of constantly being a contender. How do you talk to your team about that? And how do you even plan to manage a team, lead a team amid NIL changes, You know you got a loaded roster coming back. You got one of the more talented coaches in the country, extremely respected in the industry, and always rumored for big jobs at the next level. So I say that because there's a lot of chatter, I'm sure, among your team. How do you, as the guy with the keys to that Rolls Royce / Ferrari, how do you expect to manage that heading into training camp?
Yeah, the biggest thing for my team and I, we focus on just the work we put in every day in the weight room, in the film room, on the practice field. And our coaches instill that in us. Coach Riley does a great job with the other coaching staff. And it's really not that deep. People try to make it this and that and all detail, but it comes down to the work. Are you on time every day? We have a standard of 12 different things, and I can't remember them all off the top of my head, but I mean you want to live by those, you'll succeed. So with how everything's changing right now, all we can do is focus on getting better and not listening to any hype, because we got caught up in that last year, trying to listen to hype, and sometimes we play down to our competition and underestimate guys. But this year, I make it clear to the guys on the team, the leaders, made it clear already in the offseason that we can't listen to any hype. We have to go into every game like it's the national championship, and we know our end goals. We know where we want to be, and we know how to get we know what we have to do to get there, even though we haven't been there in a while, but we know what to do.
Yeah, I've never met Lincoln, but, man, he sounds like an incredible guy.
Yeah, he's very bright.
The other thing before I let you go is I've never been to Norman. Like, I want to go. I don't know, but I got to call a game because I'm calling games on the West Coast throughout the season. But what is it like there for somebody who came from Arizona, right? You came from a relatively strong city compared, at least population-wise, to Norman, Oklahoma?
Yeah. No, Norman's, it's different it's not a huge city. It's a college town, so everybody loves Oklahoma football there. I mean, that's the main reason why I kind of went down to Oklahoma, because I knew people's life is the Sooners. Boomer Sooner, everybody knows over there. It's huge. So being in a legacy down there, a great tradition, a great program, it's amazing. Just all the love the fans have, and going around and everybody knows you and the players on our team. It's a great area. It's a college town, like I said. I mean, it's football school, and shoot, I mean, good food too.
I like it. All right, one day you got to show me around.
Yep, I will, for sure.
Right. Spencer Rattler, I appreciate you coming back as a counselor and pouring into these young men and taking time today.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, there it is, Spencer Rattler. Hopefully you enjoyed those 3 conversations. 3 of the better young men, I think, in the game. We're talking about Dorian Thompson-Robinson at UCLA, Malik Willis at Liberty, and, of course, Spencer Rattler here joining me today. All right, stay safe. If you need any more information about this show, this podcast, just go to yogiroth.com. Subscribe to the How Great Is Ball newsletter. Every Saturday drops in your inbox. Insights from college football, the Pac-12, the quarterback position, and hopefully something might even inspire you just a little bit. Peace.